Newcastle beat Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final, but I want to very quickly ask a question about Dan Burn. What a week he's had. A Wembley goal for his hometown club, an England call-up. I think it would genuinely would top anyone's week. But if you had to have a best week of your life, what ideally football related, but what would it be? Quick, I'll start with you because you haven't been on the pod in a minute, and I know Mo Salah is probably going to mention Mo Salah in his dream week, so I'll get to that at the end because I'm still hurting from the final.
So, what, you want to know my dream week, or do you want me to give you my thoughts on Dan Burn's dream
Nah,
week?
your dream week. Forget Dan Burn's dream week. Everyone's gonna be talking about him.
Oh, come on, man! This scoring. You know what it is? It's not even scoring a hat trick for Chelsea in the Champions League final because that's greedy. Scoring a brace for Chelsea in the Champions League final, and yeah, that's literally it. That's my fantasy. That's what I daydream about every day.
Go on, Connor.
You know what? It would be doing whatever a week, and Saturday comes around. It's the playoff final. You know, Coventry against Leeds. That'll be a good one. We win. I go out. I don't know. Yeah, preferably meet a girlfriend. Brilliant day, brilliant week. Both go up. I've got a missus. Everyone's happy. Mum's happy too.
I'm glad you ended it with Mum's happy too, because where that was going, I was like, bro, remember where you are, bro. This is not, you're not sat in a Coventry home stand chatting to your boys anymore. We don't do that here. Very quickly, the Coventry not like Leeds or something? Did I miss something?
Yeah, no one likes
No
Leeds.
one likes
No one
Leeds.
likes Leeds.
No one likes
Yeah,
Leeds.
everyone knows that, bro. But I'm saying, like, don't Cov have like Midland rivals that you'd rather
It's
beat
Leicester,
in?
but Leicester are in the Premier League. That will be above them next
I
season.
see.
It's fine.
Oh, so you went with a realistic opposition, but an unrealistic day and night. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Go on, Salad. Here we go.
It's nothing to do with Liverpool. Like my dream week would have nothing to do with Liverpool. I mean, come on. I mean, for me, it would be. I've just made the move to Napoli in January. Our first game is at home against Juventus, and I'll come on in like the 74th minute, and then I'll score a great goal, and obviously, you know how they do the announcing, Mohamed Salah, Mohamed Salah, Mohamed Salah. Oh, that'll be that's
Yeah,
it.
he's thought about this one for a long time.
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Listen, what do you think I'm doing when I'm just walking down the road, man?
Man said 74th minute.
That's funny. That's funny. Mine would be. I will keep it football related, but I actually like low-key don't want to. But I'll keep it. In fact, I'll go sports related. As much as I love football, I don't think there'd be anything better. And I think two of us in this conversation will agree. At least one will. But I don't think there'd be anything better than coming out to a song that you've chosen on like in WrestleMania or something. That would be, bro. Like, I love football, like, but I've scored a volley. You know what I mean? I've scored a decent goal here and there, not for my club, but I've scored it. But WWE seems so like dystopian. Like, none of us thought, maybe one of us might. But it feels like anyone we ever even get in touch with is never going to make it to WWE. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's played against a baller, or kind of knows one, or someone knows someone. But WWE, bro, coming out, The Rock's waiting in the middle of the ring next to, I don't know, like these days, John Cena. I don't actually care about John Cena, but The Rock's in the middle of the ring. Roman Reigns, bro. I get the mic and go in front of him and go, acknowledge me.
Yeah.
And then get whacked in the face, bro. What a night. What a night, bro. Yeah, that's me, bro.
He's actually living all of our lives, you know, like all of our little dreams, you know what I'm trying to say? Like when he got speared at the Royal Rumble, I was like, brother, hey, listen,
like
what I will do to get thrown at the top rope.
But the bump he took onto the table was crazy. That could have killed him.
That was nuts.
Yeah, I can't lie.
I don't know if that was planned. I don't think, I doubt, you know what I'm trying to say, but anyway,
Yeah.
conversation for another day. But yo, listen, now I understand, bro. WWE, I've played that so many times that I've slid onto my bed under, like, you know what I'm trying to say, when you slide, if you're sliding under the bottom rope, my time is up. Oh, my days. And then like Viva
bro.
La Raza when it was really, oh man, great times.
Viva La Raza.
Hey, listen, I'd get a bicycle, take the air out a little bit, and just like bounce on my bike. And
yeah, love that.
Out of the car and that. Spanish music in the background. Oh man, good times.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie. Now that I think of it even more, actually, as much as I love football, I'm fine with just watching it from my sofa. WWE would be the one. Get me out and like doing something mad in WWE, or like getting tombstone by Undertaker and snapping my neck, bro. What a story! It'd be so good.
I don't know, bro.
You're not actually snapping my neck, bro. Connor, do you watch WWE? You don't, do you?
So I heard something about a heel tap. That's all I can tell you.
Just you.
I heard the 2 words heel tap. I know
He'll turn. He'll turn.
What was it? Heel turn, and then in the Sidemen charity game, Logan Paul did something to Joe Weller. I was like, wow.
He heard heel tap. I'm picturing.
Heel tap's like tap dancing, isn't it?
But I'm literally just picturing Connor like chatting to his mum, saying, "So, mum, I heard about heel tap," and she's just tapping her heel, going, "What's that? Like, you know when like you heel tap?" And the two of them just say, "Oh, bro,
I ain't got a clue about WWE. I can't lie.
That's the best.
Firstly, it's
Best.
yeah, heel turn, good guy turns bad, basically.
Yeah.
And John Cena's been good. Like, how do I describe this to you? Who's the most likable? Well, it's Frank Lampard, your guy, Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard's been a legend to you at Coventry. He spends another 3 years with you and takes you to the Prem and gets you in the Champions League. And then he leaves and goes to Leeds. And in his first interview says, Coventry, you go suck your mum. You're like, yeah, this guy's the worst guy in the world. That's a heel turn. John Cena basically did that in WWE.
Oh.
Yeah. But he's been doing this for like 25 years. He's been a good guy. So, yeah, it was pretty mad, bro. Maybe you should get into wrestling. Anyway, for those of you that are not here for wrestling, which is probably absolutely everyone who listens to this podcast, let's talk about football. And I have deflected for long enough. So I will let you guys ask, ponder, question, whatever you want to talk about in the next 5 minutes before we move on from this Carabao Cup. Go on, quick. Look at him.
Yeah,
I've never seen him so excited. I swear to God, Kwaku normally keeps composure. He was there for
no,
that.
because I'm here for narrative, and the Nubaid knows that I've got a lot of respect for this Liverpool team, and
Why?
I look at this league title this year that they're going to win, and I think it's reparations for the amount of times they got 90 plus points and didn't win the league. I think it would be an absolute travesty for players like Virgil van Dijk, Mo Salah, Alisson, Trent to only leave the Premier League with only one league title. Having said that, every year we are subjected to treble, quadruple talks with Liverpool, and it never ever happens. It seems like within a space of a week, those talks die. At the beginning of the week, I'm hearing, "Oh yeah, we could win the treble." First of all, it's not the treble; it's a treble because you're out. The FA Cup went out to Plymouth, and then within a matter of a week, out against PSG, should have been out of sight in the first leg, and then put in one of the worst cup final performances I have seen from Liverpool earlier today against Newcastle, and deserved to lose it. I think the goal flattered you. Obviously, Chiesa, your boy, got on the score sheet finally.
Hey, Kwaku, just tell me, how much did you celebrate that for me, though?
Nah, I thought of you. I thought I was on air, so I couldn't text you, but I thought of you. When he scored, I said, yeah, the Nubaid will be going crazy. It was a good goal as well, but I think Liverpool have been not found out, but I think it's exposed the lack of quality at the top end of the Premier League. At the top end of the Premier League, Liverpool have run away with it only because the other teams have been incompetent. And I think the way that they've gone down in the last couple of weeks, not just against PSG and not just against Newcastle, I think is an indictment on where the Premier League was this season. You are still going to win the league. You deserve all the credit in the world for it. But you, man, deserve to get roasted for the way that you played in that cup final because you were terrible.
Go on, Salas. You have whatever you want as well.
No, let Connor go first, man.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
two generational.
I'll get mine. I'll get some. It's cool.
You're gonna get some.
I'll get some. Don't worry.
No, it was 2 generational hate watches in the space of what? Not like 4 days, 5 days, whatever it was. Look, Liverpool are going to win the league, and it's like everyone's been saying, it's a weak league, but props to Liverpool for being the only ones that didn't, fall off compared to what they were last season, the way Arsenal and City did. Fair enough. But talking about strictly this cup final, I'm not going to lie. You saw a team that wanted to win it versus a team that didn't really care if they win it. That's all I was seeing out there today. Newcastle wanted that so badly. And when it's a cup final at Wembley, when all your fans have travelled down to Wembley to watch it, I think that you need to show a lot more than they showed. I went to the toilet at halftime and did more steps than Salah did that whole game. Like that was diabolical from him.
But how big is your toilet, bro? Let's talk about that.
that was poor from a lot of Liverpool players. I thought Van Dijk had one of his poorer games. These are brilliant players, don't get me wrong, but when the lights were bright today, but the thing is, when I say the lights are bright, I'm not sure how much Liverpool cared about that game. And that's the thing that I would feel disrespected as if I was a Liverpool fan. Because you want to win everything as a football fan. And I just think those players, they took for granted what today was. And what today was a great chance for a trophy, add it onto your legacy, give the fans a great memory. And they didn't do that. So If the league season was about 5 games longer, I don't know about this Liverpool side. I wouldn't be that confident in them winning the whole thing, but it's not, and they will win the league, so fair play to them. But today was really bad, I thought. Really bad.
This is the one I'm looking forward to. Before I give my thoughts, which don't really matter that much anymore, but go on, Salas.
You know, the thing is, yeah, I mean, they've covered everything very, very well, and I know we're not trying to make this episode too long, so I'm just saying you better win your first game back after the international break. Like, you better win that game against Everton, because if you drop points, there's 8 games left after that. Arsenal come to Anfield. It can get a bit spooky. Like, we've seen Liverpool with 4 games to go have like a 6-point lead. And you know what I'm trying to say, Jerry? Slippy, and that. We've seen these things, you feel me? Like, it's kind of in the heritage. So I'm just saying you better win. And there's no easy games for you. You know, I've looked at the fixture list. There's like a 4-game period where you play, I think it's Tottenham, United, Chelsea, Arsenal.
Easy.
No. Yeah, no, it's easy if it's the first half of the season and you got Mo Salah firing. The second half of the
Yeah.
season, when it's like April, May times, when certain players get into their shell and like bum cheeks get squeaky, it's a little different. You feel me? Like when you go to Tottenham Stadium or United are coming into town, it's not as easy as it sounds when you know that if you drop points, all of a sudden it's not 12 points, it's 7 points, 6 points, 5 points. It's not the same. So I'm just saying you better win that Merseyside derby. You better get your 3 points, because if you come back from international break and you don't, it can be a bit spooky. You better not win, bro. Nubaid, as a brother, you better not leave this year with no trophies. You better not. I promise you better not.
I'm glad you have some concern
Yeah,
for me.
not for you personally. You're obviously Muslim brother and that, you're fasting and that. You know what I'm trying to say? I got love for you. You feel me?
So hold on, what you're saying? If I was white, you wouldn't care. That's interesting.
Basically.
That's interesting.
I'm trying to say.
That's exactly what he said.
No, I'm just saying you're obviously you're a bro. You know what I'm trying to say? I got love for you. You better not. You lot better not leave this year without a trophy. 15-point lead, and 3 of your best players are leaving as well. Free contract. Long day.
I'm gonna say one thing on
Now, we
what
really
Salah
don't care.
said. Then
Can we move on?
Hey, Rambo, you gotta hold it. You gotta hold it.
Yeah, listen.
Because at the beginning of the week, we heard the chat speaking with chess. Yes, smash and grab, whatever you want to call it in Paris. That robbery, and I was there. Mate, we did a show, and I said, yeah, I love wins like that. But I think the win masked over the fact that you guys have not been on it for a little while, and every defeat that you've had, you've explained it away, whether it's PSV, but it was the last group game of the Champions League. We didn't want to win it. Plymouth, but we rotated our side. We played poorly against PSG, but we got the win. There's been poor performances.
People forget just like a couple of weeks ago, they were 1-0 down to Southampton at halftime. Like they've got 9 points in the entire year. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And you needed a couple penalties as per to get your 3 points. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So like Liverpool for a while haven't looked good, and that's why I'm saying I'm putting emphasis on you better win your first game back, like, because if you don't, ooh, spooky. Halloween. It's getting spooky.
The only saving grace is that it's Arsenal chasing Liverpool.
Yeah, that's what I was
so like. Well, I completely hear everything you said, Salad, and I will hold the L this week because I absolutely deserve to. I don't know why, me personally, but anyway, I'll take the flat for Liverpool. But I just think if the scenario was different and it was Man City chasing, I think the situation would be different. I think Arsenal need to win too many games. And I honestly just don't think they've got the capacity to, whether it's with a lack of forwards or with their forwards fit, whatever it is. I just don't think they will. So I think Liverpool will, like, even if they crawl their way over the line, they'll find their way over the line. Salah just switched his camera off because he don't want to talk about Liverpool anymore. All right. I'll hold the L and we move on. We move on basically. But genuinely, kudos to Newcastle because you could tell how badly they wanted to win. And they were on it, man. Like that day, I think I tweeted this and people kind of didn't agree, but I think you guys probably will. Newcastle, the entire 11, especially in the midfield, they're like the sort of players you want in your team, but you adore them if they're in your team, but you hate them if they're against your team.
Yes.
Like, you know, like Joe Linton, I've seen him do this so many times. I win a tackle like left back in the 6th minute and he's pumping the crowd up and I'm like, bro, just keep it moving, bro. Keep it moving. But today was the right day to do it. But like, he's doing it away against Ipswich and I'm like, bro, come on. Let's just go. Why'd you have to? You and Bruno Guimaraes have to stop doing this constantly.
It was the midfield felt like a mismatch though. Like obviously, I think in the summer they go and get a little bit a player with a bit more deftness to replace Joe Linton for certain types of games, especially if they qualify for the Champions League. But when you got Tonali, Guimaraes, and Joe Linton in midfield, the legs, the ability. I just looked at that and said, yeah, it's going to be a tough day for Liverpool. And then you've got Alexander Isak, who was always going to score because he is that guy and he wants it all. Yeah, and then you got Dan Burns, who's got the incredible narrative behind him. It was just written for Newcastle to win it. And credit to Eddie Howe, by the way.
Yeah, I
Credit
was
to Eddie
going to say
Howe
he needs credit. He needs credit, man.
because
He's a brilliant manager.
English managers get slated.
Yeah.
And I was at the beginning of the season, I said, is Eddie Howe where are Newcastle going under Eddie Howe? Obviously, last season took a step back. The season before that, they qualified for the Champions League. And think about where they were when he took over. They were second bottom in the Premier League. That 4-year run is crazy. They would have qualified for Europe last year if Man United didn't win the FA Cup. So I finished 4th, and then I think finished 7th or 8th last season. And this season, won the trophy and probably going to finish in the top 5 or 6. And the first English manager since Harry Redknapp in 2008 to win major silverware. He deserves his flowers, and so does all his staff, man. He's done a good job.
No, I
I just
think
want to give
certain
one quick shout out, just because a lot of the spotlights on Salah. I think Jota needs to learn a different language. He needs to leave, bro.
Yeah,
He needs to learn Chinese.
Connor,
He needs to learn Chinese.
But they're not doing Ballon d'Or prop for Jota though. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, he's not the best player in the world. Do you know what I'm trying to say? He's not better than Thierry Henry and Cristiano Ronaldo.
Get my wife's name out of your mouth.
No, but Salah, you're like, and I get it. What agenda have to run, right? And I get.
Wait, can I tell you something though? I swear on everything I love. If they weren't comparing Salah to Eden Hazard, I would leave him alone, and I would respect him as one of the best players in the Premier League. But it's the Eden Hazard thing I can't let go. So I need to set pace. You know what I'm trying to say?
I hear it, and I get it in terms of we watch football with our eyes, and we all appreciate that. But when we have these conversations, we talk about greatest, and we're not talking about best. If we're talking about best, Eden Hazard clears Mo Salah, and it's not even a conversation. When we talk about greatest, you have to take in accomplishments, statistics, trophies. You have to take that into consideration. And so I think they're two different things. If you're talking about greatness, I think Mo Salah supersedes Eden Hazard. As good as Eden Hazard was, there wasn't a year that I was like, there's a potential for you to be the Ballon d'Or winner. I don't think so anyway. And
but that's because Messi and Ronaldo are around. If Eden Hazard was playing 2017 Eden Hazard now and he was carrying Chelsea to Premier League, it would be a completely different conversation because people are forgetting. Yeah, but when it was Messi and Ronaldo, it was always who's third? Is it Neymar? Is it Eden Hazard? Is it? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, Hazard was in those conversations. It's just because there was these two aliens there that there was never a Ballon d'Or conversation.
But your love for Eden Hazard shouldn't cloud your judgment of Mo Salah.
I'm not judging. If people want to have a genuine conversation with me about Mo Salah, we can do that. This is not the platform or the space or the time for that. You know on a normal day, give me a call. Nubaid, you call me anytime. I'll tell you where I genuinely rank Mo Salah. But today, on a day like this, where you had 26 touches in a cup final, nah, not today, bro. We're not doing that.
Fairs. Thankfully, that's the end of this Carabao Cup conversation. You will receive a call from me this week, Mo Salah. I promise you.
We'll talk about cricket.
Yeah, listen. No, let's not even do that, bro. Our cricket team's terrible, so let's not do that. Let's talk about this managerial situation. So this wasn't the plan, but basically, before we started recording, and it actually reminded me and Quaker had this conversation on ESPN earlier this week about Thomas Tuchel not being manager. But I don't want to set the precedent because I don't know exactly what Quaker's thinking. So Quaker, you walk us through what your rationale, what your thinking is, and then we will discuss why you have this opinion.
I'll just throw out a simple question, and then we can just discuss. As a German, do you think Thomas Tuchel should manage England?
No. I thought everyone was answering at once.
No. Yeah, I don't get why are you beefing, bro?
How are you going to have the same passion? How can you have the same passion for it?
Yeah. Okay. So my issue is in this country we are guilty of, and rightly so because of some of the atrocities committed by people from this country. We're guilty of being very introspective, right, and very kind of not saying how things really are, and people are scared to come out and say. But I feel like we got the platform. We're black and we're brown, so we no one can accuse us of being xenophobic or racist. Football tribalism matters, man. It's the lifeblood of football, and so to go and get a manager from a rival nation,
Right.
I think is football sacrilege. And I get it. You're talking about the rivalry manufactured from an England point of view. That might be the case. Even if that is the case, that rivalry still exists in our mind. So to go and get think about England. They beat Germany 5-1 in 2001 in a World Cup qualifier. They consider that one of the greatest results in their history. A World Cup qualifier against Germany. They consider that one of the greatest results in their history because it's against the arch rivals. And what do you go and do? You go and get a German manager to manage England. And the remit is not just to get a German manager to help us progress and get to a certain level. The remit is this German manager has to win us the World Cup. If he gets to the final and loses, that will not be good enough. I'm sorry, but this ends in tears, bro. This ends in tears. And I for one, I can't sit here and I can't stand it. I would never take a Nigerian to manage Ghana. Nigerians would never take a Ghanaian to manage their country. It's something you don't do in football. Go to Brazil and ask them if they'll get an Argentinian to manage them. They'll say no. You get laughed out of Sao Paulo. It doesn't work, bro. It's not what football's about, especially international football. And I hate the fact that a man that I love in Tommy T is going to be managing a team that I root for in England because he's not from England, bro.
I agree. Did you see Scaloni? Scaloni at the end of the World Cup. The last World Cup, sorry. You can't replicate that passion if you're not from the World Cup's been going 95 years since the World Cup started, and still to this day, a World Cup winning team hasn't had a manager outside of their country win the World Cup. It's always been a manager from that country. I don't know why they think it's going to be any different. The Capello experiment was horrendous back in the day. So why are you doing it again? Like, Tuchel's a great manager, but you can't replicate that passion. Tuchel loses the World Cup quarterfinals with England. He sleeps that night. Whereas if Eddie Howe loses the World Cup quarterfinal with England, he doesn't sleep that night. It's very, very, very different. You can't tell me that there won't be personal bias when it's that political. It's an international game at the end of the day.
100%.
Yo, so let me ask you a question, innit? We all know that Tommy T is one of the best managers in the world. How high you have him is what it is, isn't it? And England are supposedly on the cusp of winning. Why would you continue an experiment with a manager that's not proven when you have a better chance of winning it with Thomas Tuchel? Like, would you guys rather have an English manager and always be close, or have a genuine chance with one of the best managers in the world? I mean, I think it's a silly argument just because English, whatever. I mean, and do you know how Connor just said, no country has ever won a World Cup with a manager that's not from their country. Mm-hmm. Every other country's managers have won their own league. This is the only country in the world where an English manager hasn't even won its own league. Like, I'm not going to say we because I'm not English, but England don't produce good managers. So
yeah, okay, cool.
What are you going to do? So are you going to just I'll be a mid-team just so I can have my own bias and I can feel good and my manager shows passion, where you have an option to get one of the best managers in the world and do well? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Well, all right. 2002, was Scolari a world-class manager?
No.
For Brazil?
No.
Nah.
No.
2006, I'd say Lippi was, but maybe a little bit past it. But Lippi was
bro, look at these teams, though. That's what I'm trying to say, bro. I'll tell you something. Let me tell you something. If right now you guys had the English version of Mbappe, you guys had the English version of Prime Kante and Prime Pogba, etc., I would say give it to Eddie Howe. He's more than good enough to win.
Does Jude play volleyball?
But, what are we talking about? But it's few and far between. I think Jude.
England have one of the best squads in the world.
No, I don't think. I think this is what I think. I think England are still very far behind some of the best teams in the world. I think you have very few world class players.
Okay, so is Harry Kane world class?
Yes, but Harry Kane's on a bit of the older side. I think England have three players that you can say are genuinely world class: Harry Kane, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Jude Bellingham. Bukayo Saka is there or thereabout, and that's about it. If you look at
other countries you won't be able to name.
If you look at that France team that won the World Cup in 2018, you could say every player was almost every player was world class.
Okay, question. That Spain team that won the Euros that beat England, name me 3 world class players.
Spain's different.
No, you can't.
Spain bang ball, bro. And if you want to do a combined 11 of Spain and England, it'll probably be about 50-50. And Spain got Lamine Yamal, Pedri, Dani Olmo was playing out of his mind. Rodri, the Ballon d'Or winner, was playing for that team.
I'm not letting you get away with saying Dani Olmo, and then I can't say Phil Foden and Bukayo Saka.
Phil Foden every time he's not playing for Man City, though. That's different.
When you say these players are playing out of their mind, yeah, it's because there's like a. When you have a manager,
you think if there's an English manager, Phil Foden's going to be that?
In charge of England, Southgate being in charge of England, England made 2 finals, made the quarterfinals. before Gareth Southgate, and and England had Capello and Sven-Goran and Eriksson. They didn't even qualify for some tournaments. When you have a manager, it's all built. It's a community.
There is
fans
one
behind is
England
better.
team. There is one England team that I think was on that level, and if they had an English manager, it could have been different. That's the 2004 to the 2008 team where they had like arguably the best player in every single position on the pitch. Do you know what I'm trying to say? You have Terry and Ferdinand, Ashley Cole, Gerrard, Lampard, Rooney, etc. That team, but then at the same time, that team was in the era where Spain have Vieira and Zidane and Henry in their prime, and Brazil have Ronaldinho and Ronaldo.
Yeah, but I disagree. I think England's competitive advantage relative to the competition is greater now than it was in 2006. You say that team was great in 2006. Go through that Italy team in 2006. Go through that France team
I
in
agree. And that's the point I'm trying to make. I'm trying to say that team, they were unlucky in the era that they were at. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
No, because in 2004, 2006, they lost to Portugal in both tournaments, who were nowhere near the same level as England. When England have an English manager, in my lifetime, that's when they've performed. When they haven't, they've been awful. And that's the case with when Scaloni was crying at the end of the World Cup in 2022. Tommy Tuchel ain't going to shed no tears if England win it, let's be completely honest. He's going to shed no tears when they go out either. It's just a fact.
But I think there's a side argument to this, which is a little more geopolitical, I'd say, than it is managerial. And that is the fact that if you think about Germany, and I don't know the exact numbers, but I lived in Germany for like 12 months nearly. In Germany, you're going to see Germans and Turks in Germany identify as German. In Italy, I don't actually know, but there's a lot more Italian people than there is anything else. In England, if you go to London, if you go to Birmingham, if you go to Bradford, if you go to Oldham, if you go to Manchester, if you go to Leeds, there's so many cities in England. Even Newcastle now, there's a fair amount of South Asians there, and there's Somali communities everywhere, and there's like even this podcast alone. Like look at the four of us. So I'm saying England is so divided in colour and in background that it's quite unique in a lot of ways because
there's not many Germans here, bro. I'm not saying that.
Maybe.
I'm not saying that it can't be. I'm not saying that it can't be somebody from Somalia. It can't be somebody from Ghana. It can't be somebody from Pakistan. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it can't be somebody who we have created as our biggest rivals.
It's true.
It's true. That's insane.
England's biggest song is 10 German bombers in the air, and now you have a German in charge. It's mad. It's mental. It's mad. Think about it.
I'm
here for England's downfall regardless, innit? So I'm either way, whether it goes well or go, I don't care, innit? But I think from a football perspective, you get the best manager available.
No,
you don't have the talent, and I don't think England have the talent to.
I don't want to do this, right? Because I love Tommy T. What he did for my club when he was there for a couple of years, he changed our life. Barring Chelsea winning the Champions League, what trophies Tommy T gone out there and won and said, whoa, lost the Champions League final, he won a cup in Germany, or he won the league with Bayern, he won the league with PSG, but who doesn't? What tournament has Tommy T gone and shown you that, yeah, I'm a tournament manager, barring that Champions League where he took over from Frank Lampard? He's not a guaranteed winner.
Okay, so the question I would ask you, and I agree with that, but if it wasn't Tommy Tuchel, who would it be?
Go and give it to Eddie Howe. I don't care. Like,
bro, but early this season we were doing ESPN. You were saying Eddie Howe ain't even the guy for Newcastle, bro. So you didn't.
But the thing is, this is it with international football. There's so many international managers that have won World Cups that I wouldn't take my football club. I would never take Didier Deschamps at my football club. And think about what he's done as France manager. I would never take Wacky.
I'm not gonna lie though, bro. I would never take. That's a different kettle of fish, though, man. That France team over the last couple of years has been ridiculous. They literally spit out talent, bro. Like France. It's the same as like, do you know the 3P Real Madrid Zidane? Like I wouldn't like Zidane, in my opinion, is a very I don't rate him as a manager personally, but that team had a best player in every single position, or top 3 player in every single position. It's the same with Didier Deschamps and France. Like all of these teams that you're mentioning have elite players, and the one kind of not elite manager-ish is Argentina that won the World Cup, and then they had the greatest player of all time and players that were dying for Messi.
Joachim Löw is not an elite manager, bro. Like Vicente Del Bosque was not an elite manager at the time that he won the World Cup. Like you go through every single team that win these tournaments, and nah.
You're not talking about. Wait, you're talking about Spain 2010.
Yeah,
you could have managed that team and they would have won the World Cup. Are you okay?
Pardon?
Me and you could have managed that team and they wouldn't have won the World Cup.
Of course. But
That's the
I
point I'm trying to
really
make, though. That's the point I'm trying to make. If you look at every team that wins the World Cup, that team is significant, like, is
okay.
easily the best. Like, the World Cup.
But that's definitely hindsight. Like, because when it goes wrong for a certain team,
Yeah.
like you don't
No,
go,
like,
"Oh, this
okay,
team was meant."
okay, the World Cup for me is one of those tournaments where usually, like 90%, 95% of the time, usually the best squad wins. Regardless, like if you look at the last 20 World Cups, 2002, it was that Brazil team. 2006, it was that Italy team who is one of the two or three best, like one of the
Yeah,
two or
but
three best teams always wins it. Always.
but hindsight makes you think they're the best team because no one says, "Oh,
Mm.
that team won it; they didn't deserve to win it." Do you know what I mean? Like hindsight, after that tournament's happened, then you're
Mm.
like, "That team's the best team." What I'd ask you then, real quick question: if Southgate's a mid manager and England have got a mid squad, then why do they continue to make finals?
I don't think Southgate is a mid manager. I think Southgate he's one of those managers that I would say I would never take him in my club, but as an international manager for England, I think he did a very good job.
And do you think part of his success was because of the fact that he
I think
played
a
for
big
England
part
from
of England's
England?
success over the last three tournaments is the route that they had in every. Like, I feel like they've got extremely lucky in every. Apart from beating Germany in the quarterfinals of the Euros, that was basically the English Euros. It was not like they done it in all these countries, but England played every single game at home. It was basically a home tournament. Apart from Germany, where Thomas Muller missed a 1-on-1, England had very easy route to every single final. Go through it. They had a very favourable route every single time around. So there was an element of luck there, and I do think Southgate is a solid manager. And I never once said England is mid. I just don't think they're as good as the top teams. Like England.
England has never been more together, like as a footballing nation, than when Southgate was in charge.
I agree
All
with
of them
that for
wearing the
sure.
waistcoats and all that stuff. And bear in mind, he was a penalty shootout, and Carl Walker being able to run away from 2 euros. Like he was that close. It's that fine margins. And before and after, they've not even been close with arguably better squads.
I was going to very quickly ask Quaku a question. Would you take Zidane as England manager?
Would I take Zidane as England manager? That's a good question, man. But you got me. You got me. Oh, would I take Zidane as England manager? Oh God.
You seen that meme when what is his name? The green goblin slapped Spider-Man over the
Yeah.
head. That's basically what just happened right now.
Yeah, you
You on a
got
roll.
me.
I went next to slap your head.
You got me. Would I take Zidane as England manager? Yeah. No, I want an English person to be England manager. So no,
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Okay,
Well,
so
we've talked about it. We've talked about it. Like there is. Why do England think they're going to be? Bear in mind, this is England who don't win anything. Why are they going to prove to be the exception of a country that wins the World Cup without a manager from that country? Why is England going to be the exception? Because we've got Tommy T. Like what? He doesn't take us closer than Gareth
but
Southgate.
that's also
Quaken, would you have if Jose Mourinho and Pep Guardiola were available? Would you take them as England manager if it guarantees
Oh,
you a trophy?
I'll take Jose Mourinho yesterday. Yeah, I'll take Jose.
Yes.
I'll take Jose.
So everything you said the last 15 minutes just died on itself.
Bro, I'm a Jose disciple, man. I love that man. I love that man.
I mean,
This
I
guy,
don't blame you. He's the greatest manager of all time, but it's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, crazy. Anyway, let's Mo's come out and said some stupid stuff already this podcast, so let's give him another opportunity to do it again.
What have I said that's stupid? Like,
we'll talk about it another day. You know, we're nearly out of time. Next time I whoop your ass at paddle, we'll talk about it then. Before we leave everyone, the question actually on here was about Morgan Gibbs White, but I've just before I asked the question, I saw it pop up saying he's back in the squad, which I think is that's so weird. Like no one dropped out; they just chucked him back in.
No,
So
Cole Palmer, I think, is going to pull out.
Is he?
Cole Palmer didn't play today. He wasn't in the Chelsea squad.
He hasn't played for like the last 10 weeks, has he?
We could chat about Cole Palmer because I've got some unpopular opinions.
Yeah, we talk about that another day too. We save it. Let's finish with this question. Newcastle obviously won the Carabao Cup. Spurs lost again. United are in 15th. Obviously, they did still win. But is the top six an outdated concept? I think that two of us maybe have had this discussion before, like separately, maybe not even on the podcast. But do you think the regular order of the top six will return at any point somewhere in the near future?
No,
that's done.
I think there's too many good teams that are other. Does that make sense? Like Aston Villa, I don't see them falling off. Newcastle, for example, I think there's too many. Like there's too much money in the Premier League where you can just have a traditional top four or a top six.
I think there's a big 17 at this point. The people were talking about the Super League, but now the three teams that go up and come down, I think Forest were the last ones to get their, their head in the door. Now it's done. I think it's That's those 17 teams might be there to stay for a while now. And then, like you just said, the chasing pack the gap is getting smaller and smaller.
You got
Villa and
Bournemouth.
Newcastle,
You got Bournemouth
Brighton,
who are in
Bournemouth.
10th, and they're 5 points behind Chelsea, who are in 4th.
Yeah.
Like,
One thing I will say is the top 6 have finished in the top 6 more often than not. Even so, with like teams creeping in, like Leicester finished 5th 2 years in a row, then they got relegated. Villa and Newcastle come in top 6, but that big 6, I think with how much money is in the Premier League and the fact that they keep staying up is just too big. It's too big now, and that now Brighton, Villa, Newcastle, West Ham will probably be on it soon, but they're all coming, man. Fulham, they're all coming. They're all coming to take them places now. In my opinion.
I do think that like this is a big day for Newcastle winning that trophy. Obviously, PSR is in the Premier League next season. The following season, the restrictions are loosened. When those restrictions are loosened, watch out for Newcastle, especially if they can keep hold of some of their players, because when you've got infinite funds and you've got, and I saw it this week in terms of Jim Ratcliffe. He's a billionaire that ain't rich enough. He's talking about cost cutting. When you've got a new owner that comes into your football club, you want to hear that they're going to spend peas and don't care about cost cutting. That's why Man City got to where Man City got to. And that's why Newcastle will eventually get to where they need to get to. And that's why Manchester United are in the mud. That's why we're having to pay for their stadium. Because their billionaire is not rich enough. But Newcastle billionaire is rich enough. And they're going to be a big, big player. They're going to be alongside the likes of Man Cities, the Liverpools, the Arsenals going forward, because they've got the deepest pockets and it'll become an attractive destination as well.
Yeah, the thing that proper turned it for me is when you think, apart from the bottom 3 teams, when you see one of the big 6 play against one of the other teams, you never now think like, yeah, that's an easy win. If anything, when Brighton play Chelsea at home, you think, yeah, Brighton will probably do them. And Bournemouth play Man City, you think Bournemouth have got a chance here now. That's when the tide turns a little bit and you think, okay, hang on a minute. There's no easy games apart from the bottom 3 anymore. So
and the thing with Newcastle is Newcastle were previously a big club too. It's not like Man City where you just got a random club and you just put bare money into it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's a little bit different. Like Newcastle have some sort of heritage and they've got a history there. They've got like a real traditional old school fan base. Like you saw every time it panned to the crowd today. Like it was real. Like it was genuine.
Man with no shirts on with NUFC tatted over their chest.
So
I was
it's
like, what am I
completely
seeing,
different from like the Man City project where they just picked the right.
But what I do think, while I agree with what you're saying, I think that's the direction the league's going in. So like, yeah, Newcastle, like once Newcastle pump this money in, there will be less and less fans that have like have their shirt off and have NUFC. There'll be more and more South Korean fans and more Asian fans. Like that's just that's the direction of the Premier League. It's just, well, like even if you look at Tottenham, like they don't touch a trophy, but like their fans complain about how many people from abroad are there, and that's just the direction I think the Premier League's going in. And obviously Newcastle and that Saudi money will be coming strong, and I think there'll be more and more investment like that, especially when you look at Manchester United being invested into by a British billionaire. I think he's a billionaire or near enough, and he just doesn't have the money.
He ain't got the peas, bro. He ain't got the peas, and that it's unfortunate to say, but if you want the guys with the peas, you've got to go to the Middle East. Like you don't know how much that the climate when Chelsea got sanctioned wasn't as such where people were really chinning having Middle Eastern owners. But that's what I wanted because I know that they're going to bring excellence, and unfortunately, Manchester United are going to be left behind.
It's not just the money that they bring, by the way. It's the structure of the club. Like if you look at Manchester City, for example, from the academy, like they've got the best facilities in the UK, like of any football club, maybe in the world. You go to PSG now, the stadium, the facilities, like they're best in class in everything they do, and they take pride in that. It's not just people like obviously the lesser football fans will think, oh, you're just buying every player, they just pump it. Like they actually take pride in the infrastructure. Like if you look around the area of the Manchester, the Etihad Stadium, the area around it, like it's developed so much. It's incredible to see, and they've done the same.
I think that's quite. To be fair, it's quite a unique project because I think they envision like being in control of that club and this dynasty for a really long time. And I think they've actually taken a lot of passion in the city as well. So it really depends. Like I don't know how the Saudis function. None of us really know. But like say like Todd Bowley at Chelsea, he's not going to be or his clan. They're not going to be investing in that area or anything. They're literally just trying to like spend their money on something that will help them evade taxes. Probably
Chelsea are in big trouble, by the way, because time's running. Do you know how Kwaku talked to us about this? When Abramovich sold, like there was a mandatory certain amount of money that they had to spend in the first couple of years, and that's kind of running out now. So I think, and they've bought a lot of nothing as well. Like they spent £2 billion on nothingness. But
Yeah, do you know what? I just think there's standards, right, and there's levels, and like people would have told me last season, "Oh, Chelsea had a terrible season," but we finished sixth, and that was a terrible season. This season's like, "Oh, Chelsea have fallen off a cliff. We're fourth, and we have fallen off a cliff." So there's standards there, which I'm happy about. It's a conversation for another day. I can't go into Chelsea right now, but like, I don't think we're finished. I don't think we're
I
finished
still
too soon.
maintain that Chelsea are finishing 7th or 8th.
Yeah, you said that at the
I
start of
said
the
that
season,
at
to
the
be
start
fair.
of the season.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it quickly. We need to get you back on again soon. Connor, I've got one question for you before I let you go, because you keep putting that stupid flag in a shot. Like, and I know, bro, he's got it in his hand. This guy's a prick. The whole episode, he's been holding this in his hand, going, whatever.
Super Frank,
Thank you.
super Frank, super Frankie Lampard. Oh man, what a legend!
Is that a picture of you on your hoodie?
I'm my dog.
This guy's head's gone, bro. Is Frank Lampard going to bring you and your hoodie of your own self to the Premier League?
Yes, he will. I'm telling you, this is the year. After what we did to Sunderland, that was the first time I actually thought it. Just let Leeds and Burnley get top 2. We'll beat anyone else. We won't beat Leeds and Burnley in the playoffs. Let them finish top 2. We'll be fine.
Who else is like a playoff team that's
Sheffield
do
United
well?
are the other ones going for top 2. I want them to be in the playoffs because we can beat them. Sunderland, we can beat them. And then you got like West Brom, Bristol City, Middlesbrough all going for it.
Dead
We'll
teams.
beat all of them.
Dead teams. All right. Well, good luck to you, my friend. But if you ever bring that flag to this conversation again, I'm going to kick you out. Mo, Connor, Kwaku, thank you very much as always for you guys listening or watching. Make sure you subscribe and follow everyone. Give Mo as much shit as you can on the internet for his hate for Salah. Get him, exactly. Get him, people. But for now,
I'm seeing more Liverpool fans hating on him than anything else.
we're going to see you next time.